Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, as promised, we have Amnish Aggarwal, Head of Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, who joins us. Hi, Amnish. Thanks a lot for joining in. Well, let's talk about Tata Technologies if you're tracking that one. You know, on the day of listing, it went up, I think, 140% odd, went to around 1,300 rupees. And those that got allotted, they would be happy to sell on that day because the numbers actually are disappointing and the stock has come down. I think it's sub 1,000 rupees. Your view on this counter?
Yeah. Hi, Nigel. If you look at Tata Technologies, then many of these ER&D companies past 2-3 quarters have been very tepid. Now, the way the entire, for example, they drive a bit of sales, say, from Moto and some of the other ER&D segment, I think the outlook at this point of time is not looking that bright. If you look at the entire space, it is not only Tata Technologies, but some of the other stocks in the segment, they have also seen a correction. So I think in the near to medium term, the outlook for these companies remains to be slightly on the tepid side.
All right. So you would not look to get in even on a dip because you believe that fundamentally things aren't looking that good.
I think it might take a little bit of time for these companies to see some revival because the demand in Europe and some of the US markets has to revive for these companies to start again showing very good numbers.
All right. Let's talk about the stock that should open up in the green. Bharti Airtel. Actually, those numbers look quite good. You know, if you compare it with its peers as well, and even on in comparison to what the poll threw up. Your view on this counter?
You see, Bharti is actually gaining because of the tariff hikes which have happened first in the prepaid and then in the postpaid during the last quarter. So I think not only this quarter, for the I think coming 1 or 2 quarters, the base seems, I would say, benign due to this very factor. Although subscriber numbers they are going down, but I think if the overall ARPU continues to move up, I think Bharti has got you can say many legs to move. Performance will continue to be quite good even in the coming few quarters.
Amnish, hi. Morning. It's been a really interesting quarter for financials, right? Banks and NBFCs, because it's so different depending on which lender you're with. Look at Federal today. I mean, they've actually managed to keep asset quality so steady when others are struggling. PNB's also seen a reduction in gross NPA levels. I think their credit cost guidance for the full year has also come down. So what are you sticking with and what are you avoiding? I mean, some names would help here because it's very granular, especially in the whole tier 2 category.
You see, what has happened in financial is two things. First of all, the unsecured book about which there were doubts earlier. So that is the risk in that they are coming to the fore. And second is the MFI book. So whichever company is having more exposure to these two, they have been on the, I would say, they have been suffering. So if you say leave the top 2-3 banks, for example, IndusInd Bank, the numbers got hammered. IDFC Bank also suffered. So I think this now the MFI issue, I think it is going to take, say, some time to settle down, although a lot might have come into the stock price of many of these companies. Now, I think some of these companies, for example, yesterday Bob's results were good, even Federal Bank numbers are good. So I think it is going to be very, very bank and case specific. But having said that, it depends upon the way you look at it. Some of the bank has done very well. The company has in the past traded at 1.8 to 2 times book also. So there is some scope in the stock to move up unless until you can say they also show some, you can say, negative numbers in the coming quarters. But having said that, I don't rule out some bottom fishing also happening in some of the counters which have seen sharp cuts in the last, say, week or so. So, but I think incrementally there would be some caution at least for the, you can say, 1 or 2 quarters.
Well, let's focus on the cement space then. And Amnish is still with us. Amnish, what's your view on the cement stocks? You know, all of them have reported numbers, barring the Adani cement companies, that's both ACC and Ambuja. The other numbers actually were disappointing, but all of those stocks are higher in comparison to what they were at the time of earnings reaction. Your view on this space? Are you factoring in a much better second half of the year?
Yeah, Nigel, actually, there are 2 reasons to it. One being the pricing was not there, and as such, 2Q is a relatively lean quarter, and we had prolonged rains this time around. Now, I think all these things were already factored into the stock price and estimates as people were expecting weak set of numbers. And I believe that there are a lot of hopes that 3Q will see reversal in the demand as well as some, you can say, restoration of pricing power. So that is what cement industry is banking upon. And that is why I think despite numbers not being good for large majority of companies, the stocks have not reacted. So I think 3Q will be the key factor to watch out for, that if the demand post-monsoon is good, plus there is some, you can say, bit of aid from pricing, I think the stock should be able to sustain the current price.
Got it. What about Zomato? Now we're getting guidelines with regard to Swiggy. That issue is likely to open up very soon. What's your view of the stock? It was looking like it was going towards the 300 rupee mark. Then it pulled back a little bit. But it clearly has a longer runway. And profitability is coming back into the fore as well.
This is Zomato numbers are pretty good. Now, if you look at food delivery, that is a more or less, I would say, stabilized business. And the bigger delta is coming from your Blinkit business. And there are a lot of hopes from the ticketing business as well. Now, I think one of the reasons why the stock reacted is their plans to raise $1 billion. Okay, because that will, you can say, bring some paper to market, and you can say some sort of a dilution is going to happen. But otherwise, I think there is no change or deterioration in fundamental, and I think markets have also weakened if you look at, say, last 10, 15 days. So I think on the lower levels, actually, this Zomato looks to be an interesting stock to look at.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for joining in, Amnish, and wishing you a good day and happy Dhanteras to you, your team, and your entire family.
Thank you, Nigel. The same to you.